John, thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm all right in thinking that this is the first time you've done a podcast as well.
This would be the first time I have done a podcast.
So, in theory, then, it's yet another exclusive and yet another world first for Potter's Pod.
Well, that's quite a grand way of looking at it, but yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take small wins, John. Small wins.
Incremental gains.
Exactly. I thought I would start with a bit of a quiz just to get us into it, if that's okay. What do you think these three things have in common? Okay. First one is James Callaghan.
Okay.
For younger listeners, obviously, former Prime Minister, yeah. The Brazilian Ronaldo, as in R9, the proper Ronaldo, some would argue.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And also, what do you think? This doesn't necessarily lend itself as well to an audio experience, John, but I've got this. This is a vinyl copy of ABBA's Dancing Queen. What do you reckon those three things have got in common?
Well, I would have to go with, so ABBA would be late 70s. Are you going for when I first went to see Stoke?
Ipswich.
So we beat Ipswich 2-1. And then I thought it was then 1976, but I'm willing to get corrected on this. I recall having the programme to it and that being my absolute pride and joy having this programme. I don't actually remember the game. Right, I don't have any. I don't have any recollection. I know because I've looked back over time that Bobby Robson was manager for them, and he comes up in one or two things in my life. And then I remember that. I know we won 2-1. Funnily enough, the first kind of game I vividly remember, and this is probably a story to myself that I should have listened to it. Was going to, it would be, I'm guessing 1978, and it was we played in the FA Cup, and in the third round we'd beaten Tilbury, 4-0. Yeah, you know this what a tie to have kind of thing. Who were they? And especially as an 8-year-old, I'm thinking, what? Anyway, we beat them 4-0. So I'm very excited when we draw Blythe Spartans in the next round, thinking, well, this is great. And then we lost 3-2. And as an 8-year-old, I couldn't comprehend this kind of situation. And looking back with hindsight, I should have realised then that, maybe this was a sign. Don't do this. And but no, it was they won a late goal, as I remember. And I just remember I've got this vivid memory of so the old Butler Street stand at the Victoria Ground. There's a paddock. There was seats and then a paddock, and they were in the far paddock next to the old Stoke end kind of, and so I could see them far and just celebrating and thinking, I've got to go to school tomorrow, and this is not going to be good because people know me as somebody who supports Stoke, and this is going to go down really badly. And anyway, there we go.
So when you first got into it as a child, I suppose there was no other option. Stoke City was the only thing you were going to do.
Yeah, so my dad's family were all from Golden Hill, as people probably know, and they were all big Stoke fans. So. And they were a big family, my dad was one of 14, youngest of 14. And so very, very, very Stoke family, all big Stoke supporters, went to games. And it was never, I don't remember how that decision is made in your life, but, I was a Stoke supporter and I'd get I'd get the home kit for Christmas and I'd get the away kit for my birthday. And that was always the way. And when I look back on photos of me growing up, I've just got, whatever I'm doing, I've got a Stoke kit on. I played a lot of cricket, but I'm there, padded up, if I'm in a net, I'm padded up in my full Stoke kit. Which is, I don't know why I'm doing that, but that was I was always a Stoke fan. I didn't know, I wasn't given another. Nobody sat me down and said, "Here, John, you've got a choice here, and here are the options. And by the way, if you're going to choose that one, just be a bit careful." Nobody went through all that with me. It was just that was how it was.
For you, when you were going through those early days, going to those early matches and things like that, and getting into it, what was the thing that really stuck out for you? Was it the football, or was it that sense of identity, or was it the fact it was a family time? Was it the fact that you were spending time with your friends? What was it that appealed to you in the very beginning?
So originally, it was just exciting. I loved, from the start of going, it's that sense of belonging, sense of identity. I was John, and I supported Stoke. Yeah, and that's and then you go to games, and all these people supported Stoke, and I loved that. So my dad used to work a lot of weekends, so I'd often get taken to a game by my Uncle Graham and two of my cousins, Andrew and Adrian, and I used to enjoy that kind of adventure. My Uncle Graham was a big man, and he'd love to go to the pub beforehand, and I liked that pre-game thing. And then I'd really enjoy. We'd then walk up to the old Victoria ground, and that was fantastic. So during that period, and then at half time, we'd have and this was important as you're a young meat and potato pie and a bovril. And I loved it. The smells and the tastes and so to this day. So I went to my sister Denise, my elder sister Denise. So I always go there. We always go there. She does a bonfire night thing, and she always has these cups of bovril for me, and so I always it always takes me back. That does. And as
soon as you turn up, don't touch that. That's John's.
Don't
touch John. Don't touch that. No, it's all right, but don't touch that.
I have more than one, and it's great. So.
I won't have two. I'm driving.
No,
kind of thing.
But yeah, I think it was that, and then I loved, that sense of belonging. And then obviously you develop. Those early years going with my cousins was really important to me, and I really enjoyed that, and loved the fact that then at night, we talk about the game at home, etc., and who we thought played well, who didn't play well, etc. But then as I grew older, and passed my driving license, suddenly it opened up a whole new kind of, you could go to an away game, and yes, I did, and that all played out.
This is going to be a very specific reference for a certain certain kind of part of the audience. First car
was a Ford Escort, and it played.
Colour?
It was blue.
I bet you can remember the reg, can't you?
I can't remember. Oh. No, I can't. I'll tell you what I remember. It'd done quite a lot of miles, this car. And for some reason, you stop being able to reverse it. And so if you wanted to reverse, you had to get out of the car, and somebody had to take the clutch, and you had to push it. Yeah. So anyway, that car becomes important later on, actually.
So if you are listening to this and you used to have would it be Mark 1 or Mark 2 Escort then?
I think Mark 2.
Okay, so if you go into the comments and put I also had a Mark 2 Escort, I bet you we're going to get a few comments just saying that.
No, I'm good for that.
Were you the first one of your friendship group that got a car? I'm just trying to work out were you the one that was relied upon to drive?
No, there were a couple who were a little in the year above, who'd go to Stoke, etc., who had a car probably before. But then they started running a coach from one of our local pubs, the Military Arms. Yeah, so that opened up. Yeah, I remember kind of at 16, kind of 17, that was when I'd start to go to away games. So that'd be 86, 87. And then from about, 88, I started going to a lot of away games.
Which were the away games that you looked at for first?
It was strange ones, because the ones I massively remember were some of the longer trips. I suppose I remember going down to Plymouth. I'm guessing 88, 89, and one of the lads from school drove, and we got all the way down, and we lost 4-0. And I think Tommy Tynan scored a hat trick, and so I kind of view that those were, they were good memories as well. I remember going up to, in a really bad season, going up to Middlesbrough, be about 89, 90, around Christmas, and I recall us not having a good away record at the time, and I think Chris Kamara got sent off. And I think Tony Ellis scored. I may have misremembered that, but the rain was. It was an awful day, and you were at Ayresome Park, got absolutely soaking, and I think my now brother-in-law Richard, I think he made the trip with me, and it was. So I more remember things like that than kind of looking for a local derby or something like that. Clearly, for those years we were in the same division as the Vale. Clearly that, and 1 or 2 with Crewe as well. You were looking for, clearly those years you'd be looking for those ones, I suppose.
So the golden age for you is like late 80s, early 90s.
Those early, the really golden age was, sort of both with club and country, was 1990 to say 94. I went to Italia 90, and then that kind of blew my mind, and then we got to the playoffs in 91, 92, but then won the Autoglass, which was I just so remember. I was at university, so I was at university in Bristol, but I was travelling up for games, and then the year after we got promoted, I think, and they in my whole, even with the Premier League years, that was just, I don't know whether it's nostalgia or whatever, it's just so much was happening, and it was such a different time. I'd left home, gone to university, and this we were having this brilliant time. Yeah.
And I suppose it's one of those things that whenever you leave an area, and like you would have gone to university in Bristol, your identity to those people was the Stoke fan, but also it's your connection to your roots. So talking about Stoke and going to see Stoke takes you back to the anchor of where you're from.
Oh, massively, and it's a big thing for people. You're going away, and whether it's university, whether it's for something else, it's a big change in your life, and you keep those connections very dear to you. And one of my very, very big connections was Stoke City.
I'm glad you answered yes to the golden era, because I've got a bag full of treats here. And if you'd have said no, that would have really ruined the next 25 minutes.
Sorry.
So what I've got is a local museum, otherwise known as Ian Cranton, has donated on a short-term loan, many of his shirts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a shirt, and I want you to tell me a memory of this shirt. Okay. Or even if it sparks off something that you remember in particular, okay? There's a few, okay? So bear with me on this.
I got these right.
So the first one is that one.
So, right.
For the people that are listening rather than watching, do you want to explain this one?
So that is that match winner.
That's match winner. Yeah.
So I'm going with I think we won the Autoglass in that.
I've got the exact Autoglass shirt, if you want to see that one, this is Ian Cranton's match-worn shirt from...
Oh, that was... I literally, that Autoglass vinyl, I had my finals on. So my finals were on it. I was in my third year I was doing law at Bristol, and I had an exam, one of my finals exams, the day after, and I remember taking the train from Temple Meads in Bristol with. I think I had a 72 Stoke shirt on. I don't think I had that. I think I had my 72 Stoke shirt on, and I remember taking that journey with clearly not a lot of Stoke fans on the Temple Meads to whichever London station it came into, and then meeting up with all my friends, and it was just the best. It was the best day. Steno scored. We played Stockport. Steno. I mean, it was just magic, and but I.
You can't stop looking at these shirts now,
no,
can you?
No.
Right. When I show you this shirt, which player do you think of?
Oh, Crystal Tiles is a bit earlier.
This is Scoreline. It's Scoreline, is it?
Yeah.
And that's obviously you recognise the badge.
Yeah.
So, which player do you think of when you see that shirt?
Oh God, I could go. That era would be. I'm trying to think what year that would be. Crystal Tiles be Paul Ware, maybe?
Paul Ware, okay, yeah, fine. Number 5 on the back. There's a couple of things in here that really caught me out because Ian Cranston, obviously Stoke fans will be acutely aware of who Ian Cranston is, but I couldn't believe this when I saw it. Is it this one? He's got one that's got long sleeves. I thought that would be against everything that Ian Cranston stood for.
Well, he had a great partnership with Vince Overson, who I like Vince, and also Lee Sanford, who often had played left back but was a very good centre back. John Butler, that was a great back four. No, I don't remember. I don't remember Cranny.
That can't be his because look at the size of it.
No, I mean he was a broad. He was probably he was a.
He's tall, but he's still slim now, to be fair. I'm being nice to him because he's lent me the shirts, obviously. Oh, no. And then, again, another long sleeve shirt, but this is the green and black one. Do you remember this one? A6?
That would be a bit later.
Carlin one?
Yeah, that would be a bit later.
Is this all right, by the way? Yeah, I've got a bag full of this.
No, I'm loving this.
This is the best day ever.
Oh, no. Yes. Like that kit. Now...
Do you want to explain it?
I'm trying to think what year that would be. That's a bit that feels.
Is it 94?
That feels I'm going to throw out Martin Carruthers on that one. I feel like Martin Carruthers could have worn that shirt.
And the final one for now. We will go back to talking about the meaning of all these shirts in a second. So this would have been the home one. So this is the away one, didn't it? That would have been right. Is that right?
That would have been right. Yeah.
Right. Them two. Yeah. Home and away.
Yes.
So. We'll start talking first of all about the 91-92 season.
Yes.
What are your standout memories from that one?
91-92. So Lou Macari was the manager, and it just felt better. And I think Wayne Biggins had a great season, right? And we had a really really solid side. We were in League One, called differently then, but what is now League One, and we got to the playoffs that year, but it was the run in the Autoglass that I massively remember, and I remember the big. We played in the semi-finals. We played Peterborough, and it was a 2-legged affair, and we drew. Wayne Biggins scores 2 great goals in the semi, and we're in control. We're in total control of the game, and eventually they scored 3, and just out of nowhere. And I think I think Kevin Pressman was on loan, and I think he was in goal. Now I remember him making a few mistakes, but maybe that's being harsh on him. Whatever happened, they come back and they're 3-2 up, and then Lee Sanford scores. Lee scouts, and we get to 3-3 anyway for the return leg. I think I'm at university and I've come up. maybe it was the Easter holidays. It would have been that sort of time.
That time of the year.
Yeah, and there was a coach going from the Military Arms, yeah, and it was a rickety old coach. And I remember setting off, and there's this old kind of bus driver, and I remember about halfway on the journey to Peterborough, and this is how I remember it, right? Maybe it's got embellished over the years, but the front windscreen, big windscreen, it just comes in, and we can't, and we're thinking, and it's driving rain, and I've got this memory of us somehow patching this up. But this rain lashing in and people taking it in turns to wipe this can't be true, but let's go with it anyway, to wipe the driver's glasses. And it's arriving just in time at London Road, yeah. And we were on the way in, and Paul Ware, who a group of us had been at school with. Yeah, he was in the year below me. So we wasn't like, we weren't, I knew him. Yeah, I knew he was a good footballer, but
you weren't mates.
We weren't best friends or anything, it was, but I knew, obviously, I think you're always proud of that person who's, been at school with, who's done well and is playing for your team, that was, we were all proud in that way. And of course we get a free kick, and I remember what's Wary taking it for, and he was a good free kick taker, but you'd have maybe have thought others would have taken it, and of course this is how your mind plays tricks. I thought he'd gone it. I'm behind it, so I've seen it, right? I've got it going in the top corner. When I've watched it back, it goes into the bottom corner, but no matter. It was brilliant. Where he scores, we're off to Wembley. And then I remember being on the car park afterwards and us playing, we were having a game that just not, because they were autoglass, the irony were fixing the window of the coach, and where he came out and said hello to us, and anyway we eventually got home. We went to Wembley. Steno scored. It was brilliant. This is where stories have kind of so many different facets to them, don't they? Because when Paul unfortunately died young.
2013 wasn't it? I think it was.
Okay, 2013. So yeah, he'd have been. So I'd have been 43.
Yeah, 40, around that age, early 40s.
Yeah, so at the funeral, Lou McGarry spoke at the funeral, and he explained because he explained that they'd been on that coach that day, and they were playing cards, and they were playing poker, and he'd won every hand. And Lou had gone to him, right, you're on free kicks, and so hence the explanation of why
he was on it.
Which I never knew until that obviously very sad day, but yeah.
Obviously, as you would expect, John, I'm a journalist, so I've done my research. I've spoken to several sources ahead of this, and I'm told that you're a half-decent footballer. Several people, so I've never just take one person's word for it,
no,
but a few different people told me that you were all right.
I was okay. I played cricket and football. I loved football more. Yeah, I was okay at cricket. And
Can I ask you a big existential question? If you could trade everything that you've achieved now to have played 15 years for Stoke,
yeah,
a bit like a one-club man over 500 appearances, would you take it?
I always wanted to be a footballer.
Would you take the swap?
I always wanted to. I always wanted to be a footballer. That's what I always wanted to be, and I wasn't good enough to be a footballer. But that was the thing I wanted to be. Yeah, and now obviously you kind of you have to. Yeah, would you have swapped everything to have played those? That's a very difficult question.
I think you want to say yes.
You want to say yes. You kind of go wrong.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. When you were in that obviously 91-92 season, special for a lot of Stoke fans,
Yeah.
but you would probably argue that the season after, for a lot of people, was just as not, if not more
We
special.
got promoted. It was brilliant.
Who were your standout players? I'm not saying who was the best player on the pitch,
Yeah.
I'm just saying who were your favourite players at that time for whatever reason.
Stino scored a lot of goals, and he was the most perfect striker in terms of just the energy he brought you. And I kind of, he got over 20 goals, I think, that season. But his work rate, his everything about him. I thought Rooster came that year, I think, and I think he improved us. And we had that kind of, we had Rooster one side, Glegg on the other side. I loved the back four. Yeah, I thought we had a magnificent back four.
And we've got to say nice things about Ian Cranston, obviously, just for this reason.
Just I love a central defensive partnership, and we had a great one, But John Butler, and Lee Sanford when he played, and we had a I loved that squad. That was great. But yeah, I mean, Stino was a bit of a god.
Standout games from that season? I imagine you'd have gone quite a few away games that season.
Well, yeah, a lot. I mean, I remember around Christmas we played Hartlepool, and we won 2-1, and we scored late. And the away end at Hartlepool was like an open away end. It was cold. It was real cold, and you're near, the wind's coming off the sea or what, and I think Nigel Gleghorn scored
in the 90th minute,
and it was just crazy. It was fantastic.
So you'd have been in the way.
I was in the, and it just went absolutely mental, and that was that. I really remember that. That was great. And
without sounding like a bit of a suck up, I've got you a gift.
Go on.
Now, what do you get? I imagine you've got quite a few different things. There's not many things I can get you that I've already got. You're looking at the bag, aren't you? Excited?
I'm thinking this is good.
So I've got you a little gift because I thought, obviously, it was as you say there, it was a very excitable away end, especially when Nigel Gleghorn scored quite late on. I thought if you got something with you, you might have dropped it. So I've managed to find a programme from that game. So there you go, that's a little gift from me to you. But I also managed to find, I don't know if you'd have kept your match day ticket, but I managed to find, apparently, an original match day ticket from that. But quite, I don't know how to describe it, it's a bit of a foresight. This is apparently a ticket from the director's box. So it's almost like it all come together.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's a little gift. Now, I'm just, as you say that, I'm starting to doubt the authenticity of this, because this says that the game took place on the 20th of December, but obviously it was on the Saturday. But we'll see, we'll look past that as just a nice gift, won't we, John?
I think
it was the Saturday.
It's definitely. I'm sure it was the Saturday. Yeah.
Well, if I've given you a knockoff ticket, John,
Sunday.
We'll take you that.
That's strange, isn't it?
Either way, they're yours to keep. Courtesy of Potters Pod.
Excellent. I'll love that. Thank you very much.
If it gets left here, I won't take it personally.
I'm genuinely keeping that. That's great.
Your memories of that season, obviously, it sounds to me, from what you're saying, for you, the football is more about the people that you're with rather than necessarily what's going on the pitch. But obviously, it helps when you're doing well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I football. I mean, I love football. Right, football is my great, normal stuff, family, etc. But football is my great love. I used to memorise kind of like this very geeky kind of. I had this book with the pre-internet, of course. This is where every table of every league throughout existence and every FA Cup round, and I used to memorise it all. Same with cricket with Wisdom. I love football and still do, but there's a bigger thing at play as well. It's that sense of community, sense of belonging, which I love.
I appreciate that we could have this conversation 10 times over. We could ask 10 completely different sets of questions, but I'm quite conscious that we're probably a good chunk in, and we're not even in this millennium yet.
No.
So forgive me for jumping forward, and so I apologise to people listening that might think, I remember a game in 1994, whatever, I apologise. But it would have been about 2000-ish, where obviously you get busy doing other things. But I imagine around that time you might have some memories from like the early, because that would have been, would that have been 2000s?
2000. Well, no, the thing is, I then have I've had this, sort of life sort of building up and going home and away, etc. And then, of course, my sister Denise persuades me that a good idea is this kind of this internet thing, and so that kind of period, late 1999, I go off grid. We launched Bet365 March 2001, so just over 25 years ago. For those first, that development and those first six or so years, I was out of action. We're building I'm helping Denise build a new business, and that took everything, and that took our weekends away, and I've got a young family, and so I'm still, we have the game on in at the office, but I'm not at games for that period, and that's the one period of my life where, even allowing for university, etc., that's the one period of my life where I'm not at the games.
You went to Wembley though, didn't you?
That was the Autoglass. That was the second Autoglass. So that was the Thorn Kavanagh side. Yes. I went to that game, and then afterwards, I went to the hotel afterwards. Yeah, and remember, players were there. It was great. Yeah, it was a great atmosphere. Wonderful night.
I'm led to believe that one of the players has got quite a decent singing voice. Is that right?
Yeah, Cav, yeah. He came up on. I remember him coming up on stage and somebody giving him a microphone, and then we were kind of going, I don't know about this. We're wondering if thought he might have had a bit too much, but he sang, and I like my kind of soul, and he sang Saturday Night at the Movies, and he was good. He was good. I think he had a great voice. I remember him having a great voice. I'm going with the fact he had a great voice.
Do you think he would? What do you think? You said earlier on about Lou's recollection being different to yours because two people see the event differently. What do you think he would say about that night?
I think he'd say he had a great voice. Yeah, Cav feels like
got the confidence.
He feels like he had the confidence. Cav was a good player. Maybe just lacked half a yard of pace, to make him a really, really top midfielder. But he was, he could play football.
He sent a message.
Oh, really? Do
you want to hear the message?
Yeah, no, I'd love to hear the message.
So we got in touch with him, as you would expect, just to say, what are your recollections of this night? And
he doesn't remember singing it.
Well, I think you're going to like this. I think you're going to be impressed by this.
John, good evening, pal. A long time no speak. Seems like nearly a lifetime ago since I played for Stoke at Wembley. Great times. I've just been on the phone to Rob there. He asked me to send a voice note. He was telling me about one of your wife's favourite nights supporting the club was that Wembley game, and then the night that ensued after. I remember tremendous, obviously, couple of days leading up to it, and then we have the big game on the Sunday. That was one of the biggest days of my career up to that point. Obviously trying to perform on the big stage, seeing if I could prove myself and see if I could make a name for myself. And luckily enough, I scored, got man of the match, made the goal for Tony. And obviously the fans of both teams were amazing, but the Stoke fans were just incredible, absolutely incredible. I think to have a game of that magnitude for the league we were in at the time just shows how big the two clubs were, and certainly how big Stoke was and what it meant to the fans in the city. So very, very proud to have played a part in it, however big or small, but it was a part anyway, to have got man of the match in the day. But I do remember after the game, getting back to the hotel, obviously everybody was in high spirits, all having a few drinks, and I ended up, I can't remember if I got asked to sing. It wouldn't have to be, I wouldn't have to be asked, that's just been honest. I would normally sing if a tall coaxed or entrusted with it, I would have done it. But anyway, I think I did get asked to sing, and I sang Saturday night. I think that a few of the lads might have got involved in it, but Funny thing is, I was telling Rob earlier, from that night, and I don't know where it was, there must have been a video of the game and the evening that went after it, because social media obviously wasn't around then, but I got asked to do a song, or if I'd be interested in doing a song, and it was with a band from Stoke, and to be honest with you, I can't remember the name of the lads who've done it, but they were great lads, lovely fellas. They were in the charts at the time, and they said to me, look, if you want to do it, you pick the song, we'll see what key you can sing it in, and then we'll do it with you. So anyway, we done it, recorded it in the studio, took about a day, and I sang Brown Eyed Girl. And I don't know whether you remember, we had the end of season deal with the awards in the season, player of the year and all that, and I ended up singing it completely sober, by the way, in front of about 350 people in that in the room at the Britannia at the time it was called. Yeah, great times, pal, great memories, and I hope you and the family are well. I hope to bump into you sometime, please God, when we get down to Stoke again. And we'll have a catch up. I appreciate it, pal, and look forward to seeing you soon, all right? Take care. All the best.
Brilliant.
There you go. So not only was it a good night for you, it sparked a fledgling career for him.
A career, no, well, he always, he had a decent voice. He could hold a tune.
I wonder if we can use the podcast to try and find the people. So he said, I spoke to him about it, obviously, that we were going to do this. And he said he can't remember the people in the band that it is, but it's a Stoke-based band, and he did.
Stoke-based band in the charts?
Yeah, it'd have been it'd have been 2000s, wouldn't it? I was racking my brains for this.
Early 2000s in the charts. There was...
So if you know...
Yeah.
Feel free to whack it in the comments. If we can maybe bring it all back together, end of season do this year.
That could be it.
Could we do it all together? It's all coming together, John, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
it really is. It's beautiful.
No.
Just before we kind of move into a little bit closer more to present day, because I appreciate we might get caught up in such a good time to talk about it. Can we just briefly touch on Italia 90? You mentioned it at the start. And I know for a lot of people, especially a lot of people to this podcast, that was a real seminal tournament that was big memories for a lot of people. So you went...
I hadn't intended to go. So I just finished my first year at Bristol, and there was a group of us watching the tournament, and we were in halls, and so we watched the. I think we played Egypt in the final group stage game. I think we were over in Sardinia, as I recall, and. Watched it, think Mark Wright scores a header. Mark Wright would have scored a header, yeah. So anyway, it all goes off and great. And then I, in the excitement, I say, should we go? Should we go? Got no tickets, nothing, right? Got no idea how to get there, and then this one lad, a lad called Frank, who I knew but wasn't close to particularly. He said, "I'll go," and we got in the said Ford Escort, and the next morning we get in this and drive to Italy. We just drive, no tickets. We must have had a tent with us but I don't know where the tent came from because I didn't have a tent. And
we can't get that in the comments.
I don't know, and so we just drive. We longest drive of my life at that time, probably ever, and drive all the way to Italy, and then we beat Belgium Platt scores, doesn't he? And then we head down to Naples, and it was strange, isn't it? Because we'd heard difficult things about Naples, be careful, etc. And we stayed on the campsite, and we got tickets fine, and we were behind the goal, but the locals were hugely welcoming there, So we were thinking, it's great, we're and of course we narrowly scraped through with a couple of Lineker penalties. Gascoigne plays we're behind that goal. Fantastic memory of that Naples experience. Then we drive up to Turin, and now there's an altogether different kind of atmosphere in Turin, and we're on the camp. The campsite is as I recall, Juventus's training ground. So it's like you're kind of hemmed in on, there's big kind of fences and stuff to stop people getting in. I remember that night before, and there was been all right, and then there was this tense atmosphere the night before, and then during the night, these petrol bombs, I recall them as petrol, could start coming across and hit one or two tents, and the two tents have gone up in flames, and I'm there going thinking, this is not a great situation. I just remember this group of lads coming over and going, we're going over after them. Are you coming? Are we going? You go, and I'll look after the tents. Anyway, so we get anyway. The night passes, we get. I remember getting bussed in, heavy police guard to the game. And we're right up in the gods. Of course, we lose on penalties, and then about 4 a.m, we just went, right, let's get it. We didn't go down to I think we played down in Bari or somewhere, the third place. We went back. But it was a great experience. It very much. We came home, and I think the Premier League was just about to start. I think things changed. I think football changed. In terms of that kind of 70s, 80s where crowds were down. And Hillsborough had happened, and terrible things like that. But that new stadium start getting built. Premier League started. England, that there was a better feeling about it. Yeah, it was just what a trip.
I bet you looked at each other like, we're a long way from Golden Hill.
The other thing I remember. No, sorry, the only other thing. Right. So this Ford Escort, right, I like my music. I love music, right? And I like. So I've got it was tapes. So that'd be a tape time. So I remember him going, "Can I play this?" And it was like Meatloaf. I'm thinking, I'm not really into Meatloaf, but go on. Yeah. So he's put this in. And then this tape gets stuck in the tape deck. So this entire journey, it's just on a loop with Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell. And so...
To be fair, the original is that long. You probably would have seen you all the way to France.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Yeah. Maybe that was it. Maybe it wasn't stuck.
Yeah, it wasn't stuck.
Maybe it just took all that time to play out.
Still doing the intro.
Yeah.
He's well loving it.
Yeah, anyway.
So that was your time following England. Again, I appreciate I'm missing out big chunks here, but I'm just trying to kind of work out kind of timeline of where you are. Obviously, up until probably, when would it have been? Like late 2010s-ish, like late early 2000s-ish, if that makes sense. You kind of got more involved with the club.
Yeah. Yes.
Can we talk about the promotion season?
So the promotion season, yes, we certainly can. Yes.
So,
yeah.
What were what I love about this podcast is we can have a conversation about the same thing, and everyone that's listening to this could tell me the different story of where they were and their day about Leicester. I could tell you my day about Leicester. You could tell me yours. Everyone listening could tell me, what's your recollection of that day?
My recollection of, I suppose, I'd in the run up to that, I remember us. I think we won at Wolves. Ricardo, disputed penalty, and Ricardo scores a great goal. And then I remember winning away at Coventry, Liam scoring, and thinking, I was thinking, we're in with a chance here. And then I always remember Pottermouth, and that always plays a part. And then the game. I just remember sort of having my daughter with me, and my son was with me, and and my wife, and just nervous, and it was just and then after it, there was all these things going on, but I went back with my family back to where I live, and with a few friends, and it was just yeah, what a night. It was just, and then the enormity of, my God, what do we do now? That's him.
How quickly did that conversation happen?
No, it was. I think we enjoyed the night. I think it's. I'm getting better at this because I think that it's very easy to, I spent a lot of my life kind of going, right, you achieve something and then it's like, right, forget that. It's now go again. And maybe it's an age thing and you get, maybe it's that we've had a tough time for 7 or so years. But I'm kind of trying to get myself to not, to enjoy it, enjoy good things as well, just for a bit, not get overly carried away, but just, when you've had a good result and something big's happened, just allow yourself to enjoy it a bit, yeah, and then go again.
I remember 2 things about that season and the season before. I used to work at a radio station. We used to do phone in, and I remember it was one of my first jobs, really. And I remember answering a phone when it was QPR. They just missed out on the playoffs the season before, didn't they? QPR away.
Yeah.
And I remember someone ringing. I think it was this bloke called Chris. He used to ring up all the time, and I'm 99% sure he said, don't worry, we're going to go up automatic next season. And do you know when you just really... I remember because I was pressing the buttons in the studio, and I remember like pressing the buttons up and speaking to John, who was the presenter at the time, going, do you think they could do it? He's like, I think they could. And it was that season after when it just felt... The city was rocking, the city was alive. And I remember going on a night out, when they got promoted. We say how you celebrate, how we celebrate it. I remember I said this to Liam Lawrence when we did the podcast, that... I just remember seeing all the players out in Hanley and seeing Big Joe parking, just like shirt everywhere, just like really enjoying himself. So the exact opposite of that would be Bolton. How did you take Bolton and what did that mean for you?
We lost that game and I know everybody was feeling like it was the end. Obviously, it was a huge relief then when we beat Aston Villa, and I think the turning point for me that first season was probably James Beattie, Matty Etherington, and suddenly we had a threat. I'm not saying we didn't have any threat before, but obviously we've got Ricardo, but we had a focal point for a kind of threat, and I thought suddenly started to think we had a chance of staying and building.
2 questions. In fact, I've got 3 questions just coming to my head.
Go.
First one is, at what point did you hear about Rory's long throw first, or did you see it first? Did like someone say to you in the training ground, you'll never guess what?
Well, because it was. I said people remember it differently, don't they? Because that was not a preordained kind of. Rory had a very good career. Rory had gone for, I think when he went to Southampton, he'd gone from Derby. I think it was. He'd gone for a record amount of money. So Rory was a proper player. And never used this throw. And then, as I recall, it was just a training session. He was after training, and I think they were just messing around. And I think he did it in front of Kempy first, and launched this thing. And Kempy kind of lent, boss, you better come over and have a look at this. and the sort of the great tactic of this year was born.
But it was a worldwide phenomenon. It was a genuine worldwide phenomenon.
It was huge because whatever people are saying about the throws this year, none of them are like Rory's throw. They just know what, not even close. That the power. Obviously we all know he was a javelin thrower and just a tremendously strong man. But the technique was incredible. And then I remember. The season before the promotion season, I think we won at Norwich. I think Mama flicks it on a bit like the flick on for the flick for the Villa goal. But did I know about it? Did I know it was coming? I don't. I can honestly say I don't remember.
When was the first time you got really excited? Because obviously you are a football fan first and foremost.
Yeah.
If you get nothing else from this, you will understand that you are a big football fan. When was the first play in that kind of era, and even a little bit later, that you got really excited about a signing? And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way for any others, but when, you know, when you...
No, absolutely no. It's a fair question. I loved Ricardo. I mean, I remember signing him. I remember Tony ringing me, and I was in London on with work, and us talking over kind of how much, you know. I think Tony had kind of worked out, you know, the money, because obviously the money came from Bet365, and then in terms of, you know, finances, he had to come and talk to me, and I remember us talking over whether it's 400,000. We're talking about his knees and his injury record, and Tony going, no, actually, you know, I can manage him. I can, you know, it's like I'm thinking, can you manage him? Yeah. But I remember being excited about that. Clearly, there's then the excitement later on when some other players came, you know, was probably, you know, an even greater excitement, not because they were better than Ricardo, just because they were
different names.
They were players I never thought Stoke could sign. You know, Bojan, you know, Arnautovic, Shaqiri. You know, I'm not saying they were any better than some of the less glamorous names, but you know, as you grow up, I hadn't envisaged us signing that type of player, and that, you know, you were going, oh Christ, you know, and yeah, maybe in the end we signed too many.
Can I throw a name at you that got me excited when I first remember? Patrick Berger. Do you remember when he was signed?
Yeah. Do you know? Let's go back. Oddly enough, Salif Diao.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Sal was often injured, but it was like, what are we doing signing some, you know, again, I remember the call on Sal, again, call about Tony, about how he was going to manage his injuries. And we signed, I think, that same, Lee Hendry as well. You know, just that, the year, it was the year before we got promoted, and this was different. And of course, that was because we were, you know, at the time of the deal to take, because I remember doing that deal to take the club, so for Bet365 to buy the club, I literally, I hadn't been away with the kids. We just had we'd had my son, but we just had my daughter, and we went. I said we'll go away for. I promise we'll go away for a couple of days. Yeah. And I booked us into Centre Parks, right? Not, you know, so great. Yeah, so we went to Centre Parks.
The Mansfield one or the one further down south?
The one I think it was the one further down south, right? And well, I'll tell you what, it's one that has a terrible phone reception. Right? That's what I can tell you. Because I'm typical, right? I'm then trying to do a deal with Gunnar Gislason.
Yeah.
And I'm walking around, and Joe must have been going mad with me. What are you doing? You promised to take us away from it. And I'm on this call trying to find a reception and trying to do this deal with Gunnar to buy the club. And we ended up structuring a deal whereby we put, right, this is how bad, right? The plan was 10 million. Right, that was the deal. You know, they got, I think, about 1.7 million out of it. We paid down a load of debt, and there was a bit of money to do something with. That seemed like a great plan for Stoke. Where obviously, somewhat many years later, yeah, we appear to have put a bit more than that in.
Yeah, it's a few quid.
Yeah, but hey, that was the, and I did that with that. Sort of back and forth with some other people, but I remember just knocking that back and forth with Gunnar, at Centre Parks, wherever that was, whichever Centre Parks that was.
I love how you say when you were describing it to your family. Look, I promise we'll have this week on it. Anyone who's ran their own business, whatever level, even if you're a plumber, electrician, whatever that is, they've had that conversation with their other half. No, honestly, it'd be
my
fine.
family have been great. They've been great, and I've been very blessed. So I'm good.
We could do another podcast just on the Premier League years, and I keep saying this, but we could talk about literally years. Well, there is a year's worth of stuff to talk about, but we do need to talk about FA Cup, and we need to touch on Europe.
Yes.
FA Cup.
FA Cup.
Let's talk about. Should we start with that one?
Yes.
Should we start at Bolton?
Bolton. So semi-final, of course. Draw comes out. I'm watching the draw, and I remember somebody who I was with saying, and I apologies for whoever, saying, it doesn't matter who we get, right? You've got to beat everybody. And I'm sat there thinking, no, you don't. No, you have to beat the club you've drawn against. And clearly, mathematically, we draw Bolton. We are I'm not saying we beat Bolton, but demonstrably that is a better draw. What are you talking about? I obviously didn't say that.
You just politely went, yes,
sure. And anyway, we draw Bolton. And I'm thinking, okay, we've got a chance here. And I remember rare for me, the players stayed at the Grove Hotel. Lovely, really nice hotel, right? And we went down the night before. Never normally did that, and had the kids with me. Had Joe with me, and I remember Joe going mad at Glenn Whelan for putting some new boots on a table. Anyway, and so I've got that recollection. Get them on. Bad luck. And of course the day was one of them days, wasn't it? It was, so two things I remember. So I remember my son being next to me and Stan being next to me, and I think, literally we're 4-0 up, and I remember it turning to me and says, "Dad, can we celebrate yet?" And I remember sort of turning to him and going, "Just let's watch this corner." and then afterwards, I remember the kids being tired. Obviously, they were young at the time, and I said to Joe, "Well, I tell you what, let's go back to the Grove and get the kids some sleep because they're not making it back to Stoke tonight." And so they kept They kept the bar open. There was this little bar there, which was really nice. I had a few friends with us, and we had a drink, and it was really nice. And now this is what I remember, right? Maybe this has been embellished in time. I remember speaking to Tony, and Tony going, "Where are you?" I said, "I've gone back to I explained the situation." And I said, "Where are you?" He says, "I'm on the M25. I said, "What are you doing on the M25? And I can't remember what he said. He says, I said, "Why don't you just come here for a drink?" And being Tony, that's what he did. Yeah, he came, and he knew the kids well, knew Joe well, so it was nice. And I remember saying to him, I said, "You know what we should do, Tony?" And he said, "Well," I said, "Tomorrow morning," I said, "you should resign." I said, "and we should sell the club." I said, "because it never gets better than this, Tony. It just never, ever gets better than this feeling." Yeah. And of course we didn't. And quite rightly, of course we got, but yeah, that was the moment. That was what a moment. It was my. It was just such a moment in time.
Is that the feeling that you're still chasing now? Do you think?
Yeah, it felt. We'd achieved, so never been to an FA Cup final. It felt like you'd really achieved something, and yeah, maybe that's what I'm,
Still after.
Still after.
When, again, I feel bad saying let's talk about the present day because again there's still so. In fact, no. Before we do that, can we talk about Europe? What are your memories of going to all those matches?
My biggest memory is Valencia.
Yeah.
And my big, because I took my son with me, and I remember having a paella on the beach in Valencia. Yeah, and it was a Valencia, because I hadn't appreciated that Valencia was the birthplace of kind of paella, and that but it was very much a meat-based dish because I associated it with a fish-based dish. Not that this is particularly important, but this
it's
is
the detail, though.
It's the detail. And then I remember kind of getting to that, getting to the square and just it being full of Stoke fans and in Valencia, which trumped kind of me. Before that European trip, my previous European trip was the Anglo-Italian, which I'd gone, I think we played Padova or somebody like that, and we'd lost 3-0, and this was way better. This was just Valencia. It was just magical.
Bringing it a bit more up to date, when was the last time you got really excited about something to do with Stoke?
There've been little bits this season when you go, okay, this is a bit different, and this feels good. This feels where it ends. Let's see, but it's been enjoyable.
Bringing it back up to present day, when you look across the squad now and you look at everything that's happening at the moment, we're recording this in 2025, so Mark Robbins, etc., etc. When you look at everything that you see now, what makes you the most proud of where we are as a club? Well,
I feel I go to a lot of away. Clearly I go every away game. I go every game. And then when you're going, you look at where other stadiums are and where other football clubs are, and I come back here and I'll look around and look at how it looks and look at the training ground, look at the new facilities there. Then I start to look around the squad and I see them interacting, and I see Mark and his team interacting with them, and I think, this isn't a bad place.
I'm not going to ask you who it is, but have you got a favourite player?
Yes.
Do they wear goalkeeper gloves?
I am not. Well, I tell you what, I can do a free hit. No, I'm gonna say, because I can get away with saying Stephen Nzonzi.
Yes,
I can get because he's
for bigger reasons
for bigger
now.
Reasons, yeah. But I love Stephen's kind of sort of the way he's just so calm, and you'll say something to him and I'll go, of course, not of course.
When you first met him, did you think he was going to go on to be a World Cup winner?
You watch him, you watch him in training, right? Even now, especially in the short-sided games, and everybody's rushing around, and there's this beacon of calmness, and you go, he's just got. What? Why is? And I remember this from my limited ability as a player. You look at a player and you go, how's he got so much time? How does his peripheral vision work like that? There you go. And then somebody else will do, one of the young players will do something wrong and he'll just go, calm. And they'll go, okay. And he's just got so much time and he's so good.
Do you remember where you were when it was a possibility he might come back to the club?
Yeah. Well, his dad, Fidel, had been in touch a few times, and to me, and I passed, passed on, and it's great. It is great to have him back. You see some of the younger players in the squad and how they look up to him. And it's good, and how they look up to Cressy, and just those really solid guys in your dressing room who they admire and they listen to.
Don't take this the wrong way, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible. Are you a bit of a football geek? Because that's how it's coming across.
I'm a nightmare. I love football. My family, Bet365, of course, you know, but yeah, football's the great interest in my life.
Just give me a little glimmer into home life. Is it on every screen in the house?
Yeah, too much. My wife loves tennis, right? So my wife, and she's a tennis geek, yeah. But yeah, football is, I consume football and football news and football data and football anything. I'm reading football book at the moment. Yeah, I'm a very dull person.
You could say that. I can't say that.
No.
You could.
I appreciate, you know, I know what I am.
Yeah. I'm aware.
It's not great.
So my question to you, I thought about this on the way in, was, you know, as a football fan, if I want to get news on my football club, I might go on social media and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Has owning a football club killed that experience for you? Because there's nothing you can find out on social media that you don't already know.
I do not. Let me tell you this, right? As a football club owner, never ever go anywhere near social media, right? You will, right? If you were depressed about the run you were on before, wait till you read what they're saying about you. It's not pretty. And you just need to be absolutely disciplined to avoid it at all costs.
You'll be the first person to admit over the last couple of years there'll be things that you would have wished would have gone differently. Any Stoke fan would. And this question, we don't usually take listener questions, but this one came from my mum, and I spoke to her and I said, I'm going to be speaking to you. And she said, can you do me a favour? I said, yeah. She said, can you ask him, why does he bother?
And answer it like this, yeah. I mean, it's an obsession, isn't it? I mean, it's because there's no logic to it. You know, you know, it's, of course you dream about your club doing well, and then you get involved, and it's an absolute labour of love, yeah. And you're desperate. You know, you feel like you've got the ability to make a positive difference. I suppose end of last season was the first time, you know, where you start to question yourself a bit. You know, you've tried everything. You know, you've had experience in doing other stuff that where, you know, you've had really positive impacts, and of course we've had a great time in the Premier League, but after 7 seasons of, you know, where we've not finished above 14th, it's not great. And then after last season, when we took it to the last game of the season, you know, it's hard. And you need to feel like you're having a positive impact.
Do you sometimes feel that you care too much?
Yes. I think there have been occasions, if I look back, where you know, so what makes it different? Why is it different that you're running, run Bet3 or having, Bet365 with my sister? Why is that different than Stoke City? And you know, running a football club's a bit different, right? You know, it's, of course you do it, and every decision you make is picked over and judged, and there's different things at play. And you know, do I think I've cared too much at times? Maybe, yeah, maybe I have.
And how does it affect you? So again, there's obviously, it has a positive effect on you. It's clear that the good times, you speak with so much passion about it. It's clear. When things aren't going right, what are you like to be around?
I say I'm fine. I say I am, I say I deal with it, and I'm experienced at dealing with it, but it's the when you're doing badly, people who say it doesn't affect you are lying. You know, it does. It can be look. People have heavier burdens in the world, and I absolutely
completely,
of course. But it's, it weighs on you. Yeah,
because that's the thing. Because I think people will think, oh right, well, like it matters because he's got he's got X, Y, and Z, like it matters.
I absolutely understand why they say, why they think and say that. It's a perfect. That's it. That is absolutely understandable. But it weighs heavy on you. Absolutely, you feel an enormous responsibility, and you're so desperate to get it right, and you're so desperate to be successful, and when you are not, it grinds you down.
Because there will be people that listen to this that go, I know not to ask my dad or my mum if I can do something next week because Stoke have lost at the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Is it one of those things where on a Monday morning they might not ask if you want a coffee?
Well, no. I hope I'm always good with everybody. However, I'll flip it round. What was it? I remember we were on this run. We were on. I think Joe's mum had said to Joe, "Oh, can I ask him about that?" And she just went. At the moment, she said, "You can ask him."
Now's the time.
This is the time.
Go.
If you've got a list, bring it in now.
Potters Pod, the official Stoke City podcast.